Hello and welcome to the podcast of the Translational Medicine Center of the Semmelweis University. My guest today is Vivien Unger, who is a medical doctor and also a resident, yes, and also participant of our doctoral program. So, what was your aim when you have chosen to start your studies at the Center of Translational Medicine? So what was your view vision when you came here?
First of all, thank you for having me today at this interview. Actually, when I started this PhD program, I knew that I wanted to learn something new, something novel besides clinical studies. I was an ultra last-minute attendant in this program. We got an email in August that we also has a chance to participate in this program, which is going to start right the next week.
Oh, yes.
So I didn't have so much time to think about it, whether I would like to do it or not. I had to decide in 2 days. So I didn't have a clear vision. What am I going to do in this program? I knew that I would like to learn something novel beside the clinical practice.
But you were working outside of Budapest, am I right?
Yes, you are right. I work in Veszprém at the Csolnoki Ferenc Hospital. I started my 4th year when I joined this program as a pediatrician resident. So I knew that I would like to do something about kids, but I didn't have a vision what to do. And Péter Hegyi and Rita Nagy came to our hospital at the end of August last year to present this program. And then I decided, okay, I would like to join. And then I just told them that it's my way, I think. But I knew that I have many obstacles to override, because I had a schedule, I had my duties, I had my night shifts, and I had a plan for the next year. And this wasn't this.
And everything changed.
Everything changed, exactly.
And after 1 year, what is your opinion? Was it worth to choose this way? Or can you do parallelly with your work in the hospital?
Absolutely, it was an excellent decision at that time. It was a brave one because I had many burdens. But where I'm here right now, I think this was the best option for me. I've learned so many things beside the clinical practice, and I didn't know what I was missing during my first 3 years of residency, and this was that. And now I can say that now my vision is that I would like to be a good clinician with this knowledge that I have now from the research field.
Okay, but what is the additive value of what you are doing here beside the clinical practice? Because you can be a very good clinician if you work your whole life in hospital.
Exactly. The main thing that this program says that learning by doing. And this is what caught me the most, that I'm going to do research work and then after that I can use it. And this is the most valuable thing of it, I think, in my opinion, that I don't do just science for paperwork, for a PhD thesis, for a D1 journal. I do it because I would like to change the practice. And this is the additive value of this program, that I can do the research work and I can work parallelly. And this is the best thing of it.
Yeah, but what you are doing here is pure research. You are analyzing literature data, you are writing new papers. So what is the connection between preparing meta-analysis and working in a hospital as a gynecologist?
As a pediatrician.
Or a pediatrician.
Okay. The connection is that we face every day with problems ourselves. And we knew that we should do it somehow in a different way, but if there is no protocol for that, or if there is an old protocol which is not up to date, then we can't do anything, because most of the time we have to stick to that protocol because it gives us a safe working title and safe working field. But there is something that tells us, okay, what if we could do it better? And this is the connection with the meta-analysis, because we had a good research question. Or first of all, we have to find a good research question that we would like to answer, and that after that, maybe it can be used in the clinical implication. But so this is the connection. I think that we had the question, we run a meta-analysis for that, and then after that, hopefully, we are going to be able to change the clinical practice.
Yeah, I think there are several steps. The first step maybe is to have a very good question.
Yes.
The second one is to provide an answer to that
Yes.
question. The third one is to try to somehow implement into the practice. But there is an obstacle, because maybe the reality in a hospital is a bit different from what you expect from the clinical evidences that you have in your own meta-analysis. So how could you implement in the daily practice what you know from your scientific work?
Mm-hmm. It is a huge obstacle, because I can say as a medical doctor that look at my paper, it's clearly there, it's significant. But in the other way, the practice doesn't provide the same data or the same experience. In my opinion, or as far as I know, at least 2 meta-analyses needs to be provided by 2 independent authors with the same or almost the same data to change practice and to change guidelines. This is what I know at this moment, and I'm not sure whether I'm perfectly correct, but maybe this is the way how we can do it. And there are many obstacles, especially not in the clinic, because I think in the clinic or at the university hospital, it's much more easier to get into new knowledge into the practice. But outside the centers, where we have to do a lot of work daily, and we stick to a plan, it's really hard to change the manner we do the practice. But if there are going to be more people who thinking the same way, by learning by doing, and they believe that it's going to be a valuable change in patient's life, in our life, if we can make it easier, then I think we are going to be able to achieve this.
I think you are totally right. This is important, and it is important to note that in the Center of Translational Medicine, several dozens of PhD students are working with the same attitude, and I think it is essential. But was it new for you, this attitude, when you came here to work as a medical doctor according to guidelines and according to rational results of clinical trials? So was it a new thing for you, or was it in line with what you thought before?
I thought before that it should work like this way. And during medical school, we were taught to somehow learn this way, but it was not the manner that we did this during med school, during the practices. In my workplace, we are following guidelines as well as everywhere, and we are trying to use the novel ones. But it's not always the daily practice. So maybe with this change of thinking, the way of thinking, we can change something. And I truly believe that in 20 years, let's say, maybe everywhere in Hungary, or most of the places in Hungary, we can do practice following this way.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm naive, that's true, but
I hope you are right. And I also think that you don't have to be a scientist to act according to the principles of science.
True.
And this center is important because we are trying to push science into the daily practice, and this is essential. So, but after spending 1 year in the center, what do you think? What is your vision? Would you like to be a bit more scientist, or would you like to stay as a practicing medical doctor?
I am going to stay in the clinical practice. That's true, because I'm enthusiast. I love it. So if we couldn't have done this program parallelly, the PhD program and the clinical days, I wouldn't start it, because I do really like what I do in everyday practice. And I really like that I'm learning it, and after I can do it. Of course, there are failures. There are failures everywhere, and this is the way how we learn some things. But to answer your question, I'm going to be a clinician, but I'm going to build in this knowledge that I'm learning during this year. And maybe in 5 years, I'm going to start my own research trial. I don't know yet, but I would like to stay in the clinical
You have the knowledge to do it.
Yes, exactly.
And what was your first research project when you started working here?
I didn't have a research project, but I got assigned to a great clinician who were offering me a project which is about investigating the relation between the mode of delivery and mortality and early outcomes among very preterm neonates. These neonates born before the 32nd gestational week and usually are under 1.5 kilogram birth weight. Yes. So.
And is this research based on the results of previous clinical trials, or what are the data you are processing?
In this field, it's not an option to provide data from randomized controlled trials because of the ethical obstacles. So we rely on observational data, mostly retrospective ones. There are only a few data from prospective studies. This would be the gold standard for this topic, but we mostly have retrospective data on this topic.
And what are your preliminary results you have, or maybe final results? I don't know.
We have preliminary results, I can say. So first of all, we had to say that we can't analyze this whole population as a one, because we got different results based on the parity of the gestation and based on the presentation of the baby. So just to say, for very preterm breech neonates, C-section might be beneficial in the case of decreasing the odds of death. In the other case, for vertex singleton neonates, there is not a clear result whether C-section of vaginal birth is beneficial to reduce the odds of death, but there is a tendency towards cesarean section. So these are the preliminary results that I can share now, and we have to also see the other ones.
And what do you think? Can you publish these results in a good paper, or what are your goals to publish in an international journal or in a national journal?
During our meta-analysis, we collected 16 articles, and we have data from almost 20,000 babies. So I think we are going to be able to publish these data in an international good quality journal.
So maybe the target is a D1 or
yes,
Q1?
Yes, definitely it's a D1. Okay.
Yeah. And do you have another project as well?
Yes. In the beginning, we have to decide whether we would like to do another meta-analysis or another type of project, a trial or a registry analysis. The second project of mine is connected to the first one. We are going to perform a registry analysis based on the Hungarian NICU database, and we are planning to analyze also very preterm infants, but this is a smaller population. We are going to focus on periviable infants, who are the infants who born between the 23rd and 25th gestational age, so the tiniest ones. And we are curious about whether their mortality rates decreased over time in Hungary, or whether the early outcomes changed a bit during time. This is our plan. This is only a plan. We are going to start the data analysis in this year, June.
And are you also analyzing the factors that have influence?
We are trying to analyze this database provides lots of data, for example, perinatal and prenatal data on these babies and on these gestations. We are trying to do that as well.
And how can you manage working in Veszprém, which is not very close to Budapest, and to do your research here in Budapest?
Good question. At first, I thought it's not going to go. When I was thinking about whether I should start this program or not, whether I'm going to be able to make it to Budapest 2 or 3 times a week, I thought it's not going to go. But it's going pretty well, to tell the truth. I have 4 days protected time a week, as everyone else in this program in the first year, and 1 day for clinical practice. Thank you for my chief and for my boss that they also provided me that time, and it was not only in the contrary.
Yeah.
It happened, and with this protected time, I could manage coming to Budapest for the lectures, for the group meetings, and doing my research. So I can say that it went pretty well, and I was really skeptical about it because the workload, because the time what I've spent previously in the hospital, but it's really great, really. I can do it, and I think everyone can do it who wants to do it.
Yeah, but this is only the first year, because from the second year, this ratio will change.
It's going to be in the other way. So I'm going to have 4 days of clinical practice and 1 day for the research. But I'm planning to submit the first article, the meta-analysis, in this year, June, so soon.
Very soon.
Yes, and the data is going to be analyzed during the summer. So I assume that after this change, it's not going to be a big deal, we say, because the most of the work is done by September.
Very nice, I think, because the PhD program is a 4-year program.
Yes.
And if you prepare your first paper in the first year, it's a very, very good achievement.
Yes.
Because usually preparing the first paper takes the longest time, because you have to learn the methods, you have to find out the way you are doing the research, and taking this all together, and also the fact that you are also working in a hospital, I think it's a very big achievement. But besides this, how can you manage your professional life and your private life together? Because it seems that you spend all your time in the hospital or with the research. Do you have time for anything else? Do you have hobbies?
I do have hobbies. It's not so easy, but if we plan our time and if we schedule what we want to do, then we can do it. I think this year is focusing on research and practice. So we have to balance private life and professional life, and sometimes we have to give more to one another. And this year, giving more to the professional life, but I have hobbies such as traveling. I'm going to travel to somewhere I don't know yet, but in June, in the end of June, for a week. And for October, we have a planned journey to Indonesia. So I just need to make time for that. And I need to have a daily schedule, what to do at what time. Try to stick to that because it's not always the way it goes. But that I can do this.
So you should be very good at time management, I think.
I should, but we have the opportunity to learn it. There were many lectures on that, how to manage our life properly, and it helped me a lot. I was a little bit of messy before, and I'm still a little bit messy during these days, but I'm trying to get together these things.
Yeah, I think here everybody who is working in the center, either as scientist or as student, can improve in many ways. And
Absolutely.
I think you are a very good example for a medical doctor who was outside of science, but within 1 year, your life changed a bit, or maybe not only a bit.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for participating in this podcast, and I wish you success for your private and also for your professional life. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.